Hello, Motivational Hue caregivers. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Lavanya, and I'm here to talk to you about my journey that I have been on as a caregiver for my mother, who started showing signs of memory loss back in 2008. So let's get a couple of things out of the way. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, I am not a medical professional. I am a daughter. I'm a caregiver to my mom who has dementia. And so, what I want to do here today is I want to share with you a little bit about sundowning. I want to share with you our experience of sundowning, my experience of dealing with my mom who began sundowning. She started in 2018, so that was about 10 years after she first started showing signs of dementia. And when it started very just casually. She wanted to go home. We were already at her house. We were at her home, and she told me, "Hey, I'm going home." And she had her purse, she had her hat, and she said, "I'll see you later." And I said, "Okay." I'm not really understanding what's going on because this is the first time, we're going through this. So she went outside and she stayed a couple of minutes. She came back in and she said again, "Hey, I'm going home. I'll see you later." And I was like, "Okay." Now, she lived in a rural area. There were no other houses around, so there really was nowhere to go. So I really wasn't worried about her going outside. So with her going out and saying she's going to come back, I'm like, "Oh, okay, no worries. See you later. Okay, bye." And she would come back in. So she did this 3 or 4 times, and then after that, she just kind of forgot about it. The next day, she did the same thing. And so this went on, and eventually, and we'll get into that in another conversation, but eventually she did really leave. And so what I want you to do is not do what I did. Don't ignore it. I want you to pay attention. When someone is starts talking about leaving, they're serious. So listen to them and start taking the necessary actions. So my mother eventually came to live with me. And as a part of living with me, she was still, after she started sundowning, it was a daily ritual. Every day we were going through this. Her sundowning would start about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And this is when she would first start talking about she's getting ready to leave. And she would actually go to each door. I had the doors locked. I had a key lock, so she couldn't get out. And she would just go from door to door to door. I work from home, so no big issue. I'm still working. She's just going from door to door trying to leave and telling me that she was leaving. When I would get off work, I would go, "Okay, then let's just go take a walk." And so I would let her out the door then, because that's what she really wanted to do, was get outside. But once we get outside, she really would forget about she's going home. She's just walking now. And we would just walk the block. We would make a complete walk around the block, come back to the house. She'd come inside, she'd sit down, she's very tired, and she would rest. And, sometimes she was good, and there would be no more incidents of walking that afternoon. Other times, after about 30 minutes to an hour, she'd want to go again. She'd get up, "I gotta go, I'm going home, I'm leaving." And she'd get to the door, and I would unlock the door, we'd go out, and we'd walk the block again. And so sometimes we had to do that 3 times. Other times it was twice, and then sometimes we got away with just once. So it's just whatever was on her mind. She would go, she would have her dinner, get ready for bed, all of that. Everything is pretty normal. She'd go to sleep, but then around after midnight, it would be 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. She would awaken, she would start stirring around her room, and she's gonna pack a bag, she's gonna get her stuff, put stuff in her purse, and she's gonna come out of her room. She's ready to go, she's ready to leave. Or she has to go let somebody in. Somebody is at the door, they need to get in. So every night it was a different story, it was a different thing that she had to go do. Now, I'm asleep, right? It's 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. So how did I know she was up? I actually got some Mardi Gras necklaces. If you remember the Mardi Gras beads, the purple, green, and yellow beads, those necklaces are very long, and they're very loud when they touch each other, and when they clank together, they're very loud. And so I would just hang like 10 strands of those beads on her doorknob, the doorknob to her room on the outside. And so when she would open that door to come out, those beads would make so much noise, they would awaken me. I mean, dead sleep. I'm sit up, I hear the beads, and I would come running because I have to see what is she up to, what is she trying to do. And so this is where you then become a part of the narrative. You insert yourself into whatever story's being told. If it's somebody that's at the door that she needs to let in, if she has to go home because her mom and her dad are looking for her, or her brother's looking for her, somebody's coming to pick her up and she has to be ready for them, you just insert yourself into the story. Just think of it as just like you're at a play, you're in a play, you're in an ad-lib play, and you just start talking. And the conversation, you're going to remain calm, you're going to be very calm, you're going to be very relaxed, you're not going to be anxious, you're not going to raise your voice. I know you're asleep, I know you want to go back to sleep, and I know you're sleepy, but you have to remain calm, and you have to just be very relaxed in your conversation with them. And the goal is you're trying to de-escalate. And so you're just literally telling them, hey, that person is at work. So if she's looking for her brother's coming to pick her up. Oh, he's at work. He had to work tonight, and he won't be here till in the morning. He wants you to stay here tonight. He wants you to go to sleep here tonight, and then he'll come pick you up in the morning. Is that okay? Is that all right? So you just get into that story. You just start trying to de-escalate. The goal is to get them back in the bed and get them going to sleep. And so it may take 45 minutes, it may take an hour, it may take 2 hours. You may get them back in the bed, they go to sleep, you get back in the bed, you go to sleep, and then all of a sudden an hour later they're awake again and doing it again. Like I said, this is a journey. For my mom, we went through this process for about 4 years. Didn't get a lot of sleep during that time. And it's definitely a journey. And so I just want to make sure that you're prepared for that. So get those beads, get something that will awaken you. So if you don't have a monitor in the room, if you have a monitor in the room and you can hear them on a monitor, that's great. But I needed something louder. I needed beads to awaken me at night. But that worked, for that process to get me involved in the narrative in order to try to get her back in bed. So during this whole time of dealing with sundowning, I just constantly was researching. I research all the time. That's why I'm here to share all of the knowledge that I've gained with you guys, because I research, because I believe all of this is reversible. And one of the things I told you about in another video was to look at the foods. Watch what foods you're giving your loved one. Watch what they're eating, because you don't want to give them caffeine. You don't want to give them sugar. You don't want to give them things that's going to make them even more anxious. You don't want to feed into the sundowning. So you want to make sure that they're always relaxed. I mean, we tried melatonin with my mom. That didn't work. We tried everything. So in my research, I actually ran across something that said, hey, this really helps with sundowning. And I was like, okay, let me try it. I'm willing to try anything, right? I tried it, and lo and behold, it worked. After I gave this to my mom, that next day, that night actually, she did not sundown. She didn't sundown. So I was like, okay, very good. Let's try it again. I did it the next day. Didn't sundown. And I was like, wow, okay, all right, let's do it again. Did it the third day, no sundowning. And I was like, okay, we're going to continue with this path. So I continued giving it to her for about a year. And after about a year, I stopped giving it to her, and the sundowning never came back. Now, I don't know where in that process, I could have maybe stopped sooner, but it was just a food item, but it worked. And I want to share that with you here today because I want you to try this with your person. I want you to try it and I want you to put in the comments. By the way, I want you to subscribe and like my channel. So like this video and subscribe to the channel. And then I want you to put some comments in the video, in the video, against the video, and let me know whether or not this worked for you, okay? But the food item was celery juice, okay? I know you don't believe me, but it was celery juice. And it's not the celery juice that you go and you buy in the store. You get an organic celery. Organic, please make sure it's organic. Get an organic celery and you break off like four of the ribs off that stalk of celery. You clean it really well and then you're going to juice it. And what I did was I purchased a big mouth juicer from Walmart. They're like $70 and that's what I use. I now have a much nicer one, but that's where I started. And so I got the juicer, I juiced the celery, and I gave it to her. It's going to look like green Kool-Aid. It's going to have the consistency of green Kool-Aid. And I let her drink that. And she drank it, and there's nothing else in it. You don't add water, you don't add sugar, you don't add anything. It's literally just celery that you have juiced. And she liked it, so she drank it, and I gave it to her every day. That became a daily ritual. Around noon, I would always stop and make her celery juice. That way, when her 3 o'clock afternoon normal time that she would start sundowning, it never occurred because she had already had that celery juice around noon that day. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to try that. I'd like you to give it to your person, see if it works. I hope it does. And please put some comments here against this video so that others can see whether or not it worked for you. I hope it does because it did work for me. So we're going to talk about other things. There are going to be some other videos that we're going to be talking about that I think are going to really help you. We're going to get more off into some of the foods and some of the other little tips and tricks that we have. So thank you for watching and don't forget to subscribe. Talk to you later.